right now?
Yeah, and going live right now. You are audible.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Since we're audible. Yeah. You all can wander.
Hey guys, welcome to Vanishing Gates.
Okay.
I am Jay, your host into the strange and the unexplained. And it's not our normal live stream night. You know, we did our Halloween show. Halloween week is kind of like, it's sweeps week for me. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and it's not over yet. Halloween is 3 weeks long. I don't care what anyone says. For some of us, it's 365 days a year. Already planning on next year's stuff. Tonight, I'm going to pop up this window here in a second. We are going to be joined by a couple of special guests. I didn't expect both of them to show up, but they're both here, and I'm very excited. I'm very happy that happened. So, without further ado, this is Emily and Tiffany from Frack paranormal. Hey, girls. How are you?
Awesome.
So, I need to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah. Go ahead and address it.
It's not Christmas.
You're going to get a spotlight on that sucker.
It is not Christmas. Why do you have a Christmas tree up?
I don't know what he's talking about. The elephant. I don't see an elephant.
It's got a star in its head. A what?
A pink elephant.
Oh, jeez. Hey, James in chat. How are you?
He's not in the room.
We're off to a fine start here. So, let's do this.
Do you need to see it? Hold on.
Oh,
Is that the elephant?
I just see that giant Christmas tree many months in advance.
Beautiful.
That Christmas...
Halloween. Can you guess what my second favorite season is?
Oh, probably, Tax Day.
Tax Day? Is that what you said?
Tax Day? Why not?
You can get your tax loans now. For Christmas. I just found that out tonight.
Oh, man. Oh, I don't do my Christmas stuff until the day after Thanksgiving, everything goes up.
No, the day after Christmas is the best.
Dave in
Tell
chat.
your children, if you ever have children, tell your children that Christmas is really December 30th, not the 25th. Everything's a little sale. Everything's half price. They'll never know.
Okay, so I'm hearing that Dave, can you hear them now, Dave? Can you hear them now? Should be able to. I guess we're having audio
For
problems.
episode 79, I'm kind of disappointed.
Huh?
We need to be 10 episodes back. That's okay. I'll take 79. I like a good odd number. Okay.
All right, so
We're having a great time. Starting to sweat.
all right, so let's.
I'm trying to pull this up on my computer too. My computer's being slow because I steal my Wi-Fi.
You steal your Wi-Fi?
That's sort of true, sort of not true, but mostly true.
I'm trying to figure this audio thing out, Dave. Give me a second. All right,
Okay.
maybe now. All right.
Hey, I want to just say thank you for inviting us on. Thank you for
All right.
having us here.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. It's been fun talking to you over the last few months. I've been waiting for this. This is good. There's a lot of interesting situations that have come up that we probably won't discuss, but
We love those situations. Do you ever watch Jersey Shore?
Oh man, I tell you, no.
The Situation?
Oh, the quality of life I've experienced in this realm after starting the show, I live a soap opera every day. It seems like it's quite nice. Just waiting for that TV money.
Would be boring.
Yeah, no. Sometimes boredom is okay when you're being stalked. Sometimes it's okay.
Oh no, I love being stalked.
So let's talk about ghosts for a second.
Nothing like a good hide in the bush type of fellow.
You shouldn't invite that. That could end badly.
Yeah.
Don't invite people to hide in your bushes. I mean, that
nothing
also didn't
like
come out right.
Nothing like a good bush. man, nothing like a good window stare.
Oh, window stare.
You know, it's serious. Listen, this is a true story. Pizza delivery guy. Okay? I go, my old house, I go to unplug the Christmas tree.
I don't believe you.
Underneath the window, I come eye to eye with a guy, and he has a big cowboy hat on. Found out it's a pizza delivery guy. I had to stake out. The police department helped me. It's true. It's true.
I ordered the pepperoni, not the pepperoni side of tiny sausage.
I didn't want his sausage or anything. I mean, it was true story. Peeping toms and bushes. Gets you every time.
Oh my gosh.
Do not take dating advice from this show, guys.
Are we on air? I'm sorry, y'all. We're professional.
All right.
Time out.
Yes.
We are paranormal experts.
Yes.
And we take everything serious.
I don't. That doesn't sound like fun.
We're going to ring this back in and we're going to be serious.
Okay. Super duper serial right now.
We're rewinding and then we're going to take a time out and we're going to collect ourselves and we're going to be serious.
All right. So take a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out.
I should not have looked at myself on this computer because I look like a freaking ghost. I'm not this white, y'all. I swear to you. I don't look this pale.
The upside is the podcast people can't even see anything. They're just going to be hearing it, so it's totally great.
Oh, that's amazing. Rather, my grandmother used to say, children should be seen and not heard. Well, hold on, I wouldn't go that way. I wouldn't go that way in this situation. Sorry, that was a bad example.
So,
sorry, Tiffany, you need to talk some. It's Tiffany's turn.
All right, so
I'm ashamed of myself.
Let's stop laughing.
Let's do a little Q&A. How about that? That way you guys can, I'll ask questions and you guys just answer. So, Emily, you've been involved in the paranormal field for like 15 or so years, 16 years, something like that, right?
Yeah, about 18.
So what brought... Oh, like 18?
Legal.
Just hit your legal paranormal age.
Yeah.
You're now free to hang out with Chip Coffee. This is great.
I can vote.
You can vote.
And buy cigarettes.
Not in California. You gotta be 21 in California.
Really?
Yep.
It should be 21 everywhere else. Yeah. Cigarettes is a bad habit. Chewing tobacco too.
And it smells.
I swallowed some chewing tobacco once. I thought it was Coke. It was a Coke bottle.
Oh. I was confused. I'm like,
Gave me heartburn.
chewing tobacco looks nothing like white powder. Just wanted to swallow some Coke. Usually you snort that. I'm not really sure what you were going for there with that one.
She don't know what she's doing. I didn't know what I was doing when I was drinking that Coke. I wouldn't know what powder was. Pickle powder.
So you drank chew spit. That's gross. And
It was disgusting. Gave me heartburn for 3 days. Really? That's a true story.
And that's how she became a ghost hunter.
Yeah. I got an
She
epiphany. Start seeing things after that. It was grizzly. If people are listening, if you want to become a ghost hunter, grizzly, wintergreen, long cut. There we go.
With phlegm, because that's the only way you're going to drink something like that.
That will bring the spirits out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but
Oh, Lord. I should have prayed before this.
Okay, so what got you involved and interested in the paranormal aside from chew spit?
I'm boring, Jay, when it comes to this. Just let you know, I grew up in a freaking haunted house. I would have said the F word, but I'm afraid my mom's listening. But it's a freaking haunted house. I grew up in a haunted house. All kinds kinds of things happened to us growing up in that home, and my parents obviously denied it until we moved when I was in junior high school, and they built a home, and we moved there, and then finally, my senior year in high school, my dad finally admitted to some of the things that was happening that I witnessed, and I believe my brother witnessed. He's not so open to talking about it still to this day, of some of the things that happened there, but we definitely grew up in a haunted home that probably had poltergeist activity. So that was it. It's the same story that every daggone paranormal investigator had, and I wish I had something more creative, but I don't. I don't. So we thought that the ghost or the spirit that followed us to our new home, it was the first night that we all stayed together under the same roof, and my bedroom was above the garage. This is our new home. I was at 7th, getting ready to go into 8th grade, I believe. So 13, 14. And we were all together under the same roof, and underneath my bedroom was the garage. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, I can't remember what time it was, but we heard boom, 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 boom. And we thought somebody was in the garage, and my dad, we all got up, and my dad even got his gun out, and we all went down. We had like 70, 80 paint cans in the garage from where we painted the interior of the home, and we thought those were knocked over, or something happened to where those knocked over, because that's what it sounded. We opened up the garage door, and nothing had happened. So I don't remember this personally. But I remember my parents talking to our pastor of our church and stuff, and I believe I wasn't home at the time. I don't think that this happened, but I believe that they had them come down and pray over our home and anointed our doors and windows and everything, and nothing ever happened ever since then.
Okay.
So
that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it was kind of creepy. Some of the stuff that happened in the home that I grew up with was creepy. Like my dog, we had a standard poodle. We called her Nuit, and her middle name was Delanchon because she was French. Okay. It meant not of the races because she was pitch black. And she came from airplane this is the truth. She came by airplane from Pennsylvania to Kentucky. We picked her up at the airport, just like we'd pick up a family member. And she would never come back to my bedroom. Like, I would always have to bring her back to my bedroom myself. And there were several nights that things had happened. There was a handful of times I even slept in my own bedroom growing up. And one night, I even somehow or some way, this got released at my school. I say released, like it's a big thing to do. I got made fun of though. This is 6th grade. This was the summer before we moved. Okay, so this is 6th grade. I remember sitting in my bedroom and I was doing homework, and I looked up and I felt like I heard somebody coming up and down the hallway, walking back and forth, and I thought it was the dog Nuit, and Nuit would never come into my room. Then one time I looked up and that whole hallway was bright green, like neon green. The whole hallway glowed green. I started screaming. Now my brother's on the other end of the hallway. I don't know if he ever saw anything or not. He's never really talked about it. But he heard me screaming and he took off running upstairs. My mom comes down, and by the time she comes down, obviously the glowing, the green and stuff went away. But I remember she screaming, "Green's a pretty color. It's an awesome color. It's money." I honestly think that might be one of the things that made my parents decide it's time to leave. My dad will talk about, like, there was voices there in the house all the time. There was a bay window in the front that he always tried to keep warm, like even put plastic up over the window. Even in the summertime, he could never keep that area warm enough. It was always icy cold. And my brother had a best friend spend the night. His name was Justin. one night, and I was sleeping upstairs, and Justin and my brother were down in his bedroom, and Justin thought that I walked past my brother's room and went to the kitchen. Well, he's like, oh, great, Emily's up. I'm going to go get something to drink. I'm thirsty. He heard cabinet doors and stuff open. Well, he gets up to go to the kitchen. The kitchen lights off, and there's nobody in there. He went home that night and never came back. So, I mean, I grew up in a haunted home. I've seen things spiritually speaking all the years that I remember. I went to Bible college, had a spiritual warfare class. During that class, I started seeing some other things that I thought people... Why are you yawning? I'm sorry.
I was just saying, wake up, Tiffany, wake up!
Look at that, Tiffany. The night is young. The night is young.
She took a nap, too.
She took a nap. But anyway, so she got her beauty sleep. But I've seen things spiritually speaking from a biblical standpoint. I call it, this is discernment of spirits. God has given me a gift. I've seen spiritual possessions and oppressions on people throughout my life. There for a while, it got to the point where people thought I was going to be crazy. I prayed against it. I didn't see anything for a long time, maybe 10 years. And then I started getting more involved in the paranormal. See, I've done paranormal investigations a lot, but on my own. I did not get professionally involved with a group until about 10 years ago. And then I started seeing some things here and there, and then I started praying for it. But the last probably 3 years, maybe, I've started seeing a lot more things like I used to. And I believe that God's given me that gift to help people and help them get answers and set them free from the bondage or the torment or the oppression or the possessions that they have. That was deep.
That was way deep.
That
That's a little deep.
That was a whole different direction than we started. That's awesome.
That's good.
That is
Tiffany's
deep.
turn now.
Yeah, Tiffany, what about you? What got you interested and involved in the paranormal?
I'm sort of the same way. I can feel energy, especially if someone is something is. I can see things. I can feel things. I've been like that since I was 5 years old. I really don't really know how to control it because I get really bad anxiety especially when I'm around a lot of people that are doing like drugs or something. I can feel that the negativity that is the aura that is actually around them. I can feel someone if they're about to die. That's weird because I kind of not accept it, but then I have to kind of accept it because that's just a gift that I have. And there's some things that that I have that I try to keep bonded inside me, and then my anxiety gets really bad, and then I just want to not be around people because sometimes it gets so bad and strong that it actually just affects me and bothers me. So
we're a lot alike, Tiffany and I. That's why we're best friends, first of all, and I thank God every day for Tiffany. There's a lot of times we don't get to spend a whole lot of time together, but when we come together, it feels like no time has passed. We're both Pisces. She's like 3. I'm younger than her. I'm just going to say that. but there's 2 days difference between us, and from the experiences that I have throughout the years, a lot of water signs, the Scorpios, the Pisces, and the what was the other last one? Cancers. They have a lot to do with spirituality or seeing things in different realms and stuff, and I think that's what brought us together. I have done paranormal investigations and been with other teams, and actually started my own team called Kiowa, Kentucky, Ohio Valley Paranormal Investigators. I had about 6 or 7 members on that team, but we could never get together, so I decided to make a smaller team, especially after meeting Tiffany because they call us freaking Frack.
Mm-hmm.
They call it freaking Frack. So it's just us two now. I don't really do much with Kiowa anymore. Actually, Kiowa doesn't really do much either. Period. But the Facebook's still there. So if you want to look up Kiowa, the Facebook's there, but we ain't there. But we do freaking Frack, and our main objective with freaking Frack paranormal is that we were doing a project, and we still are. It's people that's done paranormal investigations will understand that. You start out with a project. It's called the Bony Fiddle Hauntings, aka Portsmouth, Ohio. Probably the #1 drug inflicted city in the nation.
Yes, it is.
But Bony Fiddle has a really good history. Bony Fiddle also means Little Chicago. I've also tied and done research to H.H. Holmes to Bony Fiddle.
Oh.
H.H. Holmes is America's first. I don't know if you've seen the video. I've talked to Jeff Mudgett every once in a while here. That's his great grandfather as the first America's serial killer, which has tied to. Well, they feel like they've tied into Jack the Ripper. Mm-hmm. And I have connected with H.H. Holmes to Portsmouth, Ohio. They have this thing called Murder Alley, where 2 prostitutes, Jack the Ripper like prostitutes, H.H. Holmes like prostitutes, were slaughtered. Mm-hmm. Like Jack the Ripper style. It's in the papers in the late 1800s. Jack the Ripper style is what it says. Mm-hmm. And I finally looked up H.H. Holmes. He was in the area at the same time, but he was portraying himself, which H.H. Holmes was a swindler. He was portraying himself as the Portsmouth hotel manager. And he scandaled several women, which was always women that he went after, out of money, saying that he was the manager and they owed him money, so he would pay him money. But during that time frame, which was a 2 to almost 3 week time frame, 2 prostitutes were murdered, Jack the Ripper style, in what they call Murder Alley. But Bony Fiddle started out. They had a cemetery that was close to the Ohio River, which anybody that studies paranormal, there's always water. Water is like a connection between spiritual realm and Ohio River. There was a cemetery. They moved this cemetery for some reason. I can't remember the details on it. They moved the cemetery out. As soon as they moved the cemetery out, there's these floodwaters come in. And they say that Portsmouth, Ohio is cursed because they moved the cemetery. They moved these dead bones and bodies. So Portsmouth gets cursed. They have 3 major floods. Last 1800s and early 1900s. The 1800 flood was the worst. It killed almost 600 people in a 7-block radius.
Wow.
Okay, it's big. It's Bony Fiddle. It's called Little Chicago. So there's a lot of population there. There's pictures and images and stuff